Hey guys, this is Naveen here. Welcome back to Naveen Automation Labs. And this is a quick announcement on the new live batch that we are going to start from 26th September, right? So, on a very high demand, once again, this batch is about UI automation with Selenium, Java, TestNG, Cucumber, a lot of DevOps and infrastructure activities we are going to perform. It's amazing boot camp. A lot of people they have got the advantage from last couple of boot camps, and then the progress, the kind of learning was amazingly great. So we are starting a new batch from September 2024, 6:30 a.m. IST. If you are in US, it will be 9 p.m. EST. Registrations are open now. I'll share this registration link in the description of this video or the first comment of this video. You can just go through it and then you can see the payment options and everything. You just need to fill this form and then you have to make the payment and send me the payment screenshot to my email ID. All the details, email ID, everything is mentioned over here. I would like to focus on the course content first, that we are going to start with the Java, then Selenium, then advanced Selenium, then framework development, and how to implement the framework in the real-time projects and everything. And then the lot of DevOps activities we are going to perform. So like one end-to-end project and end-to-end framework we are going to cover with various tools and technologies with respect to UI automation. Plus, in this batch, especially for this course content, we have added some really amazing out of the box scenarios and the concepts also, and couple of some important, very important design patterns end to end also we have added here. So you can just go through the course content, and we will keep updating the course content if something is new there is there in the market. One thing is that, guys, if you're learning Selenium 3, which is absolutely outdated, you don't need to focus on the Selenium 3. We have to focus on the Selenium 4.x version because there are so many things like W3C WebDriver protocol. WebDriver BiDi is also available in the market now. Then we have to understand how exactly W3C is implemented with respect to 4.x version. The complete architecture is different. What are the new changes are implemented? What are new updates are available in 4.x version? We have to learn all those things. And after 4.x, it's like amazingly great. Like still people are confused that what do you mean by Selenium Manager? Selenium Manager is introduced in Selenium 4.6, where you don't need to download any Chrome driver.exe or any binary. It will automatically take care of it. And when I take interviews, when I ask people, people are still not using it and they are not aware of it. So you should know strictly, you should learn about Selenium 4.x if you are planning to learn Selenium. No need to learn RCIDE. Those are totally outdated in the market now and officially not supported by Selenium as well for RC. You don't need to learn about Selenium 2 and 3. You're using 2 and 3, you are doing a big mistake. You have to upgrade and migrate to Selenium 4.x. Now, the question is that, Naveen, will you teach Java? Yes, Java is my favorite, and then we will learn Java like anything. We'll start from the scratch. If you are at zero in Java, we'll start from -1, like how to install, what are the advantages with Java and everything, and then all the core concepts of Java we are going to cover. Will be around 25 sessions around for only Java. Like no one will give you that level of coverage, that 25 sessions only for Java, because I know personally, if you are good in Java, then only you will get the confidence in the Selenium and the framework and the later on the complex design patterns if you really want to use. If your Java programming or programming basics are not clear, then you will never be able to work with the real-time projects. You will not get that level of confidence, and you will always and always struggle. And I'll tell you another advantage with Java is that if you're learning Java, you will be open for, let's say, Selenium, Java based automation framework, RestAssured, or any other frameworks which are there in the market, or any other tools which are available in the market supporting Java, and or any object oriented programming concept. It will help you a lot. So trust me that I'll make you perfect in Java, core Java, whatever is required for automation point of view, interview point of view. We will see how to write the code, how to optimize the code when you struggle at a time of interview. That, Naveen, people say that I'm not able to design the logic, I'm not able to write the complex logic. And I'm sure that we will learn how to write the test cases against a specific function. Then how to write a generic function or utility functions and everything. We are going to cover that. And the object oriented programming concepts We are going to cover those things along with like polymorphism, inheritance, encapsulation, composition, abstractions, interfaces, overloading, overriding, a lot of amazing things with the real-time scenarios. There is no bookish definition, no bookish knowledge, purely and purely real-time with different examples with the design patterns and everything. We are going to cover that, like for example factory pattern or builder pattern or decorator pattern or strategy pattern or behavior pattern. We are going to learn those things so you can understand only patterns when you know the object oriented properly, that when to use interface, when to use abstract class, when to use inheritance, when not to use inheritance unnecessary, when to create the parent and child, super keyword, this keyword, constructors and everything. There are so many things properly with the examples we will cover in the Java training. And once the Java training is done, then only we will move to the Selenium part. So we will see that how to set up your Eclipse or IntelliJ, which Java version that we really need to learn. Along with that, we are going to cover with Java Collections API plus Stream Lambda also. This time we are going to cover with the Java 11 features. What are the new features are available in JDK 11 and 8? We are going to cover that as well, plus real-time scenario with the Selenium, no doubt about it. So it's a bad practice if you're covering Java, let's see, one topic with Java and same time one topic in Selenium. No, that should not be the sequence. First, you have to prepare your mindset for the Java design point of view. You have to think like a developer, and then later on you have to understand and learn Selenium or any other automation tool. Okay, this is my philosophy that I always follow here. Once these things are done, you can use Eclipse also or IntelliJ. There is no difference. Only thing is that look and feel of the Eclipse and IntelliJ will be different, but the rest of the things will remain same. Multiple debugging options are available in Eclipse also and in the IntelliJ also. We will see how to debug a code, how to write the expressions and everything, watch list in the debugger, in the debug perspective, how to see the number of threads and everything. We will cover at that level so that it will be easy for you to debug the code later on in the framework when the script is not working or a script is getting failed, right? And once these things are done, then we are going to cover the Selenium WebDriver. There are so many things at the browser level. We will not directly jump into the web element level or XPath level or CSS level. Before that, there are n number of things that we have to understand, like WebDriver architecture, how exactly Selenium is interacting with the browser. What do you mean by server? What do you mean by drivers? Still, people are having a lot of misconception when I see the post and the medium post on LinkedIn also, that they are not aware of the exact W3C WebDriver architecture. What is the need of that? How exactly these things are working together along with the library, the client side script, and the browser and the drivers also, right? What is the role of a vendor like Chrome, Firefox, or the browser vendors? What exactly they are contributing in terms of implementing the WebDriver with W3C? So we will see those things as well. A lot of good use cases, a lot of case studies with respect to interview questions. We are going to cover that. Okay. So learn it properly. Otherwise, don't learn with the half knowledge. Don't go with the interviews with the half knowledge. You will always struggle in some really good companies. If you really want to get placed in some really good big companies or good product companies, you have to improve your basics. You should think like a real time, the way you're working in the real time project, how exactly we can implement the things, how can we improve the things. Those things, the main philosophy we will follow in the training as well, right? So there are a lot of browser navigation commands. You can go through all the bullet points over here. And once the browser and the pages and the server is completed, then we will cover with the web element commands over here, like what are the different ways to create a web element in Selenium, what are the different strategies we have to follow. I can tell you 10 different strategies, with wait, without wait, with buy locator strategy, without buy locator strategy, page factory locator strategy. There are n number of strategies are there to create the web element in Selenium. And what is the best one? What are the advantages and disadvantages of creating those web elements with a specific strategy? We are going to cover that because it plays a very, very important role in Selenium. Locators are very important. If you are poor in locator, if you are not able to create your own locator like XPath or custom XPath or relative XPath or complex CSS or complex XPath, let's say for a web table, you have to write, you should know about the XPath access, like parent, sibling concept and everything. Relative locators also you have to learn, which is newly added in Selenium 4.x version. And you should know that what are the different XPath access options are available. like backward traversing, forward traversing, sibling traversing, left right traversing in the specific on the specific page. And then same thing with the CSS also, that what are the limitations are available with CSS, but how exactly CSS can do the magic in terms of improving the performance of the script as well. So you have to be really, really good at the time of interview. People will ask you to create the XPath and CSS selector. And like, it should be on your fingertips. The moment they ask the question, it should click in your mind that which XPath or which CSS selector will work here. What will be the strategy of creating the XPath and CSS selector here to find the single element or to find the multiple elements, right? So I'll make you perfect in XPath and CSS. We will spend around 3 to 4 sessions only for locators, like only dedicated sessions only for XPath and CSS. After that, you will never forget XPath and CSS in your life. In fact, the same XPath logic and CSS logic can be applied in other tools also, like Playwright or Cypress or WebDriver IO. Same concept will be applied there as well. We will see various element identification strategies with the different XPath helper plugins are available. Without plugins also, we will see that on different browsers also, we will look into it. And then we will see various other web element options like web table objects, checkboxes, radio buttons, checkboxes inside the web table with the pagination, how to extract the value from the specific rows and columns from the web table and everything. We will cover that. And the good thing is, guys, that we have to create the utilities. That is the main focus in the training. Without utilities, it will be very difficult to work in the real-time frameworks. What do you mean by that? Means I have to create a wrapper function. For example, let's see, this is a click function provided by Selenium, that dot click function. But I'll say, okay, fine, this dot click function, on top of that, I'm going to create my own utility. Let's see, Naveen click function, or let's see, my click function. So this my click function will actually doing a lot of other things along with the normal dot click. It is happening. I mean, it's doing number of other checks also. That element is really visible, element is really displayed on the page, element is really stable or not with the proper weight and everything. Then I'll perform dot click method internally. So I'm not going to use driver dot find element dot click directly over here. On top of that, I have to create a wrapper function on that with n number of various conditions. For example, let's see, I will never use a send keys method directly provided by Selenium. On top of that, I'll create my own wrapper. So this is a wrapper. So I'll add some extra features that, okay, value is equal to null or not. Can I pass the string? Can I pass the string buffer? Can I pass any kind of character sequence? Can I pass the null? In case of null, how exactly it will handle? What if I'm passing the null value or some other a value which is not compatible with the character sequence or the string? Then what kind of exceptions or custom exception handling also I'll be doing it with the proper weight and everything. Before send keys, we have to clear the values also. So n number of conditions you have to add it. Selenium will not give you those conditions. Understand that Selenium is such a raw library. They will give you the method, but these things you have to do it by your own. You have to create your own functionalities. You have to create your own custom functions. And then from the testng class or from the main method, I'll be calling this particular function rather than calling this send keys function. So I'll be calling my own wrapper. And this wrapper will go through all the conditions. And once all the conditions are satisfied, then it will click or enter the value in the text field. So this is a right way, and this should be a generic way that all other team members in your team, or we have created one common automation framework, utilities, everyone will start using this particular utility from there. So this is the main intention of creating the utilities. So we will create like various utilities by using the Selenium internal methods. I'll give you an example also. If you go to my Eclipse, and then if you see that, let's see, for example, I'll show you one basic element util.java. Let's see from here. And then if you see that here, not a single hard-coded value, not a single direct method I'm using it. If you see this particular get element method also, I have written that, okay, fine, I really want to highlight the element. What if element is not available? Then you go to the catch block. And then inside the catch block, again, I'm waiting for that particular element. What if element is really available or not? Once the element is available, then only I'm going to return this, right? So I'm not using, if you notice, that dot click method or dot send keys method directly over here. You see that, let's see, click element from the page section, from a specific page section if I'm looking for. So you have to supply the by locator of that page section, and which element that you're looking for, you have to supply the text of that. And then you have to create a utility out of it. A lot of people, they do these mistakes. If you see that search, this search functionality will work for Google search or any kind of e-commerce search application. and it's totally independent of your locators and everything. You can apply the same search function. You don't need to write the repetitive code, and with the proper error handling and everything, that is what we have done it here. You see jQuery dropdowns, normal dropdowns, select based dropdowns, actions classes utilities are available, right? Wait utilities are available here. So we have to understand what is the difference between implicitly wait, explicitly wait, or what are the different timeouts are available. What do you mean by fluent wait? The still people they get confused between the WebDriver wait and the fluent wait. So all those things we will cover here. You see that is such a big utility from the previous batches that we have created. And each and every line of code will be written during the session. We will never copy paste the things. And then we'll always understand that how to develop a logic, how to create a function by passing the various parameters and the values here, right? So likewise, we have various other utilities. Let's see Excel utilities, CSV utilities, or maybe we can create some JavaScript utilities as well, right? So various different types of util functions or generic functions we are going to cover. So here, another thing is that Selenium wait, alert, switch windows. What do you mean by waits concept here? What are the different types of waits are available? People, they get confused between, as I told you earlier, that actually the fluent wait or the explicitly wait is a kind of a concept. It's a high level concept. And then what are the different interfaces and the methods and the classes are available to implement that? What do you mean by fluent wait? In terms of it's not only for web element, it can be applied, let's see, for the file download option also. When you click on file download, you must have seen that, okay, 10% done, 20% done, 30% done, and 100% done. So Selenium is not going to wait for that. We have to write one fluent wait feature over there that, okay, once the file download is completely done in my C drive or D drive, then I have to read that particular file. So it means we have to wait until the 100% completion is done. That feature also we can automate with the help of the fluent wait, right? So we'll see that what do you mean by Ajax component and how to handle the synchronization or asynchronous calls on the page, which is happening with respect to different elements, and how to handle the same in your script as well. Then various actions classes, very important topic, very interesting topic, like how to do a dot click and then normal send keys with the actions class. What do you mean by target exceptions are available in actions class? How exactly actions class is developed with respect to W3C WebDriver instructions? In Selenium 4, this architecture of actions class is completely changed internally. There are a lot of new features that they have added. The internal APIs are totally different. They are following the W3C WebDriver protocols now. And then if you really want to click on a specific element also, let's see, if I really want to click over here, first I have to mouse over and then click on the middle of the element. So this is done by the actions class builder pattern. So we will see the drag and drop, mouse actions, and keyboard actions. In fact, in the actions class, they have added new features like scrolling also. You can do that. Scroll to element, scroll page up, page down. Infinite scrolling also we can implement with the help of actions classes. So we will cover properly with here. Now, a lot of browser profiling. You should know about that. Different options are available to handle, let's see, notification pop-up is coming. Or maybe some, I really want to open the browser in the headless mode or incognito mode or something like that. So what are the different options are available in the Chrome, Firefox, and the Edge browser? We will cover that part as well. And then I have always like cover the complex to complex UI cases. For example, how to handle a complex Ajax component, asynchronous JavaScript calls or components available. Let's see, some scorecard or world population is getting updated in every second. So element is getting dynamically updated every second. So these are like without refreshing the whole page. Only this particular section is getting, let's see, Virat Kohli is playing and then Virat Kohli's scorecard is 35. But after 2 minutes, after four, it will be 39. So only that particular scorecard is getting changed. So how to handle that with the help of proper wait with respect to Ajax component, we will see that part as well. Complex calendars, more complex like previous date or next date and everything. We will try to write some generic code with respect to calendars. Web table with the pagination, another very regular use case for interview point of view. Plus the project point of view, in almost every project, you will see the web table reports with the pagination like 1, 2, 3, next, previous, and everything. What if element is available on the 10th page, or what if element is not even available in the all the paginations? Then in that case, how will you navigate? Which loop we have to write, for loop or while loop, right? Which strategy or which logic that we have to implement here? Let's see, infinite scrolling. Infinite scrolling is another use case of the file loop. For example, let's see, scrolling on the LinkedIn, Facebook, food delivery apps like Swiggy or Zomato. You keep scrolling down on LinkedIn. The moment you see Naveen's post, you have to click on it and then break the loop. So how will you do that? That is called infinite page loading or infinite page scrolling. You have to check that. Then we have to see complex shadow DOM. Very interesting topic. SVG elements. We should know these out of the box scenarios that how to handle. For SVG, we use a very specific XPath that we use it here. Complex frames and iframes. These days, iframes are also like very complex. Nested iframe people they have like implemented in their application to secure the element. Let's see, three frames are there and you are on the page. Then in that case, you have to go to the third frame or the second frame. So which hierarchy that we have to follow. So those things are very, very important that we have to know. For example, let's see, this is my page. On this page, I have another frame. Then one more frame is available. Then the element is available here. So now your Selenium WebDriver is here. We have to move the driver from here to here to here, and then interact with this particular element. Can I move my driver directly from here to here? No, you cannot do that because this is the nested frame, right? So we will see that how to handle these kind of scenarios as well. Then once all the Selenium concepts, for example, pseudo elements also we are going to cover that. What do you mean by pseudo classes and pseudo class based element? We will see that page weight use case is very, very important. How to implement your own custom weight, right? If I'm asking you at the time of interview that, okay, your WebDriver weight or Fluent weight or explicitly weight is not working, you have to create your own custom weight with the polling time, with the interval time. I don't want to find the element in every second. I want first you find the element and then send the request after 2 seconds or 3 seconds. How will you apply that level of weight without using any internal Selenium feature? So we have to check, can we create our own custom weight or not? And then element weight use cases and the page weight use cases, both we are going to cover that. For example, element is coming after 10 seconds or 15 seconds. Selenium is not going to wait for that. Selenium will see, okay, where is that element? And immediately throw no such element exception. So we have to tell Selenium, wait for some time. Once the element is visible, then only you interact with that element. So these are the custom element weight use cases we are going to cover that. It looks easy, but it's not that straightforward. We have to write the generic function and the code for that. So once these things are done, then we will move to the framework development part. So for the framework development point of view, I would say advanced Selenium framework development part where we have to integrate with the TestNG because Selenium does not provide any testing features to write the test cases and everything. So we have to integrate with the TestNG to design one testing framework. And then first we will see all the various features of TestNG. There are so many new features and hidden features are available in TestNG. We will cover that TestNG reporting, custom reporting and everything. And then after that, we'll design one automation framework, one end-to-end project. In fact, we have included 3-4 sessions for the Cucumber as well. With the new features of Cucumber, we are going to cover that as well. I'll just add that Cucumber point also later. So with respect to the framework development, still people are having this confusion that which framework we have to use, what is the name of this particular framework, what do you mean by hybrid framework, what do you mean by design patterns, and all those things. So we are going to use the typical UI design pattern, like the very famous in the industry, which is page object model design pattern. We have to use it here, right? So how to design the page object model. In fact, I don't cover normal frameworks. I cover always around 20 to 25 sessions we will take only for the framework part, which is like almost everything we are going to cover with around 5 to 6 pages. Generally, people cover only 2 pages. We will pick one end-to-end workflow based application. We will use it. Let's see, e-commerce application that where you're just going to log in, search the product, click on the product, add to cart, check the product information, then make the payment and all those things, and generating the orders, checkout and everything. We have to cover end-to-end scenario. And what do you mean by page chaining model, zigzag pattern, fluent pattern, and all those things we have to implement in the framework, so that because this is the way we work in the real-time projects, right? Then we have to cover like data-driven approaches. We have to use it that how will you get the data from the properties file, parameterization, Excel file, CSV readers, and all those things. We have one use case with the database also. We will cover with that part as well, that how to fetch the data from the database like MySQL server or something like that. And then the log generation. A lot of good listeners we are going to use with respect to TestNG, that what is the role of a listener? In order to generate the LR report or the extent report, we are going to use the listeners as well, which is running in the background and keep checking that what happened with that particular test case or not, right? So we are going to cover that part as well. So once the framework is completely done and the designed, then what we are going to talk about, let's see, for example, I'll show you the quick design that this is what we are going to cover in the training as well. This is the perfect design for our hybrid based automation framework with the page object model. So once the framework is completely designed here, like including all the utilities, page object model, test classes, runners, base test, multiple configuration with the properties file, QA, running the test cases on the QA environment, the stage environment, dev, production, which design that we have to use it here to handle multiple environments. What do you mean by driver managers, factories, running the test cases locally, remotely, and then making the complete Maven lifecycle with generating the fat jar, Nexus, and everything with the proper test data driven approach. Also, we are going to talk about that. So once this design part is completely done, I'll do one thing. I'll divide into two parts. So this is my high level design, HLD, and then we are going to talk about the DevOps activities as well, that we will see around 4 to 5 sessions only for the GitHub. I'll make you perfect in the GitHub that what do you mean by push, pull, clone, add, commits, what do you mean by PR, what do you mean by like PR processes and everything, how to create a master branch, feature branch, how to merge the code, what is the PR process, the pull request process, the review process, the work, the way we work in the real-time project. Because you try to understand, let's see, tomorrow you are joining a company where 5 people are working together. Your team lead says that, okay, fine, that can you please raise the PR for your automation code? And if you're not aware of it, that how to merge the code after the PR and how to raise the PR and how to review the code, and then it will always be a struggle, right? You will, it does not look good that you know how to write the code, but you don't know how to merge the code with others, because you are not the only one in the team who is developing the automation framework or writing the code. It's you are responsible only for the result based.java, but other people are working with the element util. So you have to merge the code together, right? So with the help of PR processes, multiple branches and everything, we have to create it here. Then only we can do that. And once the Git part is done, then we will move to the Jenkins part. And we have added a couple of topics this time with respect to GitHub Actions also, that create the pipeline, the jobs, CI/CD pipeline, Blue Ocean pipeline. We will see that what do you mean by Jenkins file, what do you mean by declarative pipeline syntax and everything. And then this Jenkins will pick the code directly from the GitHub repositories and then start running your pipelines there. In between, we will cover the webhooks part also, that how to integrate with the webhook and ngrok proxy, like auto triggering jobs. The moment I push my code to the repository, ngrok proxy will read the event from the webhook. So we will see that how to set up the webhook, and then ngrok proxy will trigger your job available in Jenkins. So we will create this integration between these 3 4 entities, and then after that, the moment I push my code, my pipelines will be triggered automatically, right? This is what we do in real-time projects. The moment the code changes are done, it pushed, and then run my test cases and give me the result. Now the main thing is that how will you set up your own lab? Own lab means your browser lab, your execution environment. So we are not be depend we are not we don't want to be dependent on any third party vendors or something like that. Let's see, browser stack or lambda test or source labs. We want to create our own lab. So we will maintain our own separate execution environment where we will be using Selenium grid concept, right? So yes, Selenium grid is part of the training, and then we will talk about what do you mean by Dockerize grid, and then how to set up the entire Selenium grid with the help of Docker. Like we will create one hub, multiple nodes of Chrome and Firefox, and the Edge nodes, we are going to cover that. And then we will directly send the request. The moment I run it from here, I'll just push my code here, and then Jenkins will start running my test cases on these nodes. So Jenkins will send a request to the hub with some capabilities like options and the desired capabilities. So we will see the concept of in Selenium. We will update the code here, see the remote option. The remote WebDriver class, we have to use it along with the capabilities here, right? So we will supply that capabilities that I want Chrome 95 or Chrome 101 version or Firefox 120 version or Edge 130 version. Then in that case, the test cases will start running in the parallel mode. So yes, of course, the parallel execution in the UI automation framework is the must. Otherwise, It will take a lot of time to execute your test cases. So we will do the parallel execution with the help of Dockerized Grid, TestNGs, and our own environment that we have. We are going to cover that, right? Now, another thing is that what if I really want to go to the cloud? So do we have any cloud feature available with respect to Selenium grids? Yes. Why not? So the same setup that we have done it here on the specific VM or maybe some machine, what we can do that we can just move this entire mounting on the cloud. So we will go, let's see, one AWS cloud. We will take one compute service where we create one Linux machine with the help of EC2 service. In the same Selenium grid with the help of Docker, the Dockerized grid, we are going to use it here. We will set up the things here. So this is a much better thing that where at the org level in the real-time project, what happens, guys, in product-based companies, you have a common environment for the execution environment point of view on the AWS. So you will create your own browser lab here. See this. I want different varieties of Chrome versions, Firefox versions, and everything. So in that case, I'm just going to create the multiple browser and everything here, and then simple start doing this. So this is what we are going to cover that. And there are some custom grids available in the market like Selenium grid, although Selenium grid is deprecated, but Selenoid grid, we are going to talk about it. So this is now very important. We will see that how can we use this particular Selenoid grid, a custom Dockerized grid, which is there in the market. It's a third-party open source tool, very, very popular in the market, and it's written in the Go language. But how to set up on the AWS environment and the locally or in a different machine, we will see that as well, right? But maybe right now you must be thinking that maybe these terms are, maybe you are not comfortable or familiar with these terms. But don't worry, we will cover properly, systematically. We will not directly jump into these things. First, the design is completely done, then only we will move to the infrastructure part. This is very, very important here. Okay. So most of the people, they just leave up to the framework part. No, the designing part is not a big deal. Writing the code is not a big deal. The actual thing is that how will you leverage it? How will you run the test cases on your environment, on through the pipeline, through the Jenkins, through the CI/CD, through the execution, how to set up your own Dockerized grid and everything, running the test cases on the cloud. So what will happen? The moment I run my test cases, let's see from the testng.xml file, right click and run as. And if my remote flag is equal to true, so automatically test will start running on the cloud. That also we can do that. Or I want, okay, once my test is completely done, I'll push my code to the Git repo and Git repo to the Jenkins, and Jenkins will start running my test cases over here on the cloud. We will never launch the browser on the Jenkins server. This is a bad practice. We should never do that, right? Because Jenkins is a common org level server. Other team members, DevOps team, other people also using it, and suddenly your browser is getting launched on the Jenkins machine. So this is not a good practice. We have to create our own environment for that. So these are called DevOps activities or test ops activities or infrastructure setup activities. We have to perform it here. So I hope this is like the basic overview that I really want to give you, that this is what we are going to cover in the training. So all the bullet points, see, I have written here. First of all, that what are different components level design that we are going to cover. Reporting, advanced reporting, custom reporting, screenshot and everything. And then the DevOps and the continuous integration like Jenkins, full Jenkins setup with the Git. See that Jenkins and Git we will cover together, like all different varieties of Git commands. It will take around 3 to 4 sessions only for Git and 2, 3 sessions only for Jenkins. Then we will see the Maven life cycle. What do you mean by fat jar? What do you mean by Nexus? For the repository management point of view, some companies, they use it, artifacts, right? Artifact management tool like Nexus or JFrog or something like that. So how to create a fat jar, how to create a jar of your project and then deploy the jar so that other people, they can use it. Just like Selenium is doing it. Selenium is giving us what? Selenium is giving a jar file, right, in the form of bounded XML dependency. So that is why the Selenium is creating a fat jar for us and giving to us. Same thing, can we create a fat jar for our project? Of course, we can do that and give it to anyone within the organization for the common automation framework. So the other team, they don't need to write the code again and again. They just need to use our jar file and then start writing the code, focus only on their test cases. This is the main intention of the jar file with the help of Maven lifecycle. So which plugin we have to use? Assembly plugin, compiler plugin, Surefire plugin, jar plugin, deployment plugins, varieties of plugins we are going to use it here. And the Docker, if you are not familiar with the Docker, it's an amazing, wonderful technology that how to set up the Docker, which Docker version that you have to install, how to scale your browser lab, how to create your own Selenium grid setup. See, I have written here the complete custom grid, Selenium grid, along with the Selenoid grid also. Okay, we are going to check that. What do you mean by composers, Docker composer, and everything, and set up your own browser lab with the different browser version. And then we have this AWS Amazon services, one cloud example also. We are going to use that. I could have covered with the let's see, Google GCP also, but GCP is not that popular like Google Cloud. But we are going to cover with the AWS, which is having some really good use case. But the same thing you can do with the GCP as well. We will see that if we get any 1 or 2 extra days, we can cover the GCP part also later. Okay, so AWS, how to create the machine, what do you mean by VPC, security groups, inbound, outbound rules. We will configure it, and then we will try to create our own grid on the cloud, right? So this is the course content. We will cover Cucumber also. If you are facing saying that, okay, no, Cucumber is not added. No, Cucumber is added. I just need to write couple of bullet points for the Cucumber as well. Don't worry about that. So Cucumber, TestNG, Selenium, and everything we have already written and then covered here. So what will be the timing and everything also I'll tell you. But you will be getting every day recorded session. Like after the session, on the same day within 3-4 hours, you will be getting the same session recording. Along with that, you will be getting the free code repos plus all your Java code, whatever the code that we are writing. Every day you will be getting it. Important notes also, PDFs, ebooks. I have around more than 200 PDFs are available for interview questions and everything. I'll send you that as well. Now, a couple of questions I got via email that, Naveen, how will you cover the interview questions and everything? See, there is no point of covering the interview question after the syllabus or after the training. Every day we will see, for every topic you see that interview question is written, right? You see that interview question is written. So we will cover that part. What is important for interview point of view in the actions class? What is not important for interview? What is important for only for project point of view, right? So that every day the interview questions will be discussed, that how to present that answer at the time of interview. You know the concept, but you don't know how to present it at the time of interview. That plays a very important role at the time of interviews as well. Okay, so make sure that you're learning those things properly and then practicing it. See, you have to put your efforts, you have to give your time, you have to be disciplined, you have to be regular in this training. Then only you will learn it properly. And then the training wise and the teaching wise and the notes and other like videos and all the things will be provided on time, will be given to you properly. We will have a doubt clearing sessions also regularly. Almost like every day after the session, we have a doubt session. We will have a dedicated doubt session also once in a week. You can share your screen and then we will have a look at that where exactly the problem that you are facing. Every time we will do that as well, right? So the timings are like if you are in India, because 6:30 a.m. IST in India. I know this is a little early, but 6:30 to 8 o'clock we will have a session. So 6:30 to 7:30 we'll have a session, and then last half an hour, 30-40 minutes only for your doubts and everything. We will cover that part, right? Because I know after 8 o'clock or 8:30 we have office in India. So that's what, like 6:30 is the best time for us. And then we have if you are in US, then it will be 9 p.m. EST. If you are in the PST US time, 6 p.m. and then 8 p.m. CST, you can just check your timings accordingly here. Every day around 1 hour 30 minutes we are going to spend. You can just have a look and all the information is available here. You can just need to fill the form, do the registration payment, and then that's it. Okay, all the details I have already mentioned here. If still you have any questions or any doubt, you can just mail me. My email ID is also mentioned here, that naveenanimation20gmail.com here. And then you can just WhatsApp me on this particular number also if you are facing any kind of issue or any other extra query that you are having it, right? So with this note, that's all. Register for it. I'm sure that you will be learning some amazing great things from this training. We have a really good track record from last 5 years about the Selenium training and framework development and everything. And then your knowledge will be totally different from others. You will be different from others at a time of interview also, for sure. So we will majorly focus on the core concept part, that how we work in the real time projects. So if your core concepts are not clear, you will never enjoy the Selenium learning. And this is only one time effort you have to put, and then the magic will happen automatically. Okay, so I hope with this note I'll just close this video. Let me know in case of any issues. And then till then, take care. God bless you all.